Have you ever stopped to think about how a simple, everyday action, something you do without even thinking, could actually be a really sophisticated tool for your mind and your body? Well, today we're looking at a rule that might do just that. It's a piece of ancient wisdom that, believe it or not, science is only just beginning to catch up with.
So we're going to unpack this one big question. We're looking at a piece of etiquette that seems so simple on the surface, but as you're about to see, it has these incredible hidden layers that touch on public health, on neuroscience, and even the psychology of how you build a disciplined life.
And this is it. This is the instruction at the very heart of our whole exploration. Eat with your right hand. That's a saying from the Prophet of Islam, and that single sentence has shaped the daily habits of millions, maybe billions, of people for over 1,400 years. So what's really going on here? Okay. First things first, let's start at the source. To really get the power of this rule, we have to look at its prophetic foundation. And you got to understand, this isn't just some casual suggestion. It's a core part of Islamic etiquette, especially around the act of eating, which is often a deeply communal thing.
So the tradition creates this really powerful, symbolic split between the two hands. The right side, that's for all the honorable stuff, eating, greeting people, giving things. The left hand, on the other hand, is designated for cleaning and personal hygiene. This creates a super clear, structured system for the body, separating what's considered pure from what isn't in a very practical, everyday way.
Right, so beyond all that spiritual symbolism, there's a surprisingly practical layer to this rule. What if this ancient guidance was also an incredibly effective piece of public health advice, especially for the time it came from? This brings us to what we can call the hygiene hypothesis.
The separation between the hands is just stark, especially when you try to imagine a world before modern plumbing. The left hand was consistently used for, cleansing after using the toilet. The right hand was for everything else, especially communal things like eating and shaking hands. This strict division was absolutely key to stopping the spread of germs.
You can see exactly why this was so critical, right? In a world with very limited soap, no running water, and where people often ate from shared platters, a strict rule that your hygiene hand never ever touches the food was literally a potential lifesaver. It's like a simple behavioral firewall against the spread of bacteria.
Okay, this is where it gets really cool. So we've seen the spiritual layer and the hygiene layer, but what if this daily habit is also a form of cognitive training? What if it's actually rewiring your brain for more deliberate action?
So to get the neuroscience here, we need a quick crash course on something called brain lateralization. In simple terms, your brain's two halves, the two hemispheres, they have different specialties. And crucially, your motor control is contralateral, which just means the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, and the right side of your brain controls the left side of your body.
So think about it. When you consciously choose to use your right hand, you are directly firing up your left brain hemisphere. And what does the left hemisphere specialize in? Things like sequential processing, structured planning, and fine motor precision. So with every single bite, you're lighting up the planning and control centers of your brain.
And the implication here is pretty fascinating. This isn't just about which hand you use. It's about turning an automatic, often mindless activity, eating, into a moment of conscious, deliberate control. It basically becomes a tiny, repeated workout for your brain's executive function and self-regulation.
Now, this repeated physical action doesn't just train the brain. It can fundamentally shape who you are as a person. And that brings us to the psychology of discipline and how our habits quite literally form our identity.
Behavioral science tells us that the strongest habits have three things in common, and this rule just nails every single one of them. First, it's crystal clear. Use your right hand. Couldn't be simpler. It's also incredibly consistent. You do it at every meal, every single day. And finally, over time, it becomes linked to your identity. And this is the key. The action stops being something you simply do and becomes part of who you are. It's no longer just a rule you follow. It's an expression of your identity. And as any habit expert will tell you, those identity-based habits are the ones that stick for a lifetime.
So now let's bring all these different threads together. Let's actually look at the ancient instruction side by side with the modern functional observations we've just made through the lenses of hygiene, neuroscience, and psychology.
This is where it all clicks. On the left, you see the simple guidance from centuries ago. And on the right, the potential benefits we can now observe through a modern scientific lens. Eat with the right hand correlates with structured motor behavior. The strict distinction of hands aligns perfectly with reducing contamination risk. And the whole ritualized etiquette can be seen as a tool for strengthening self-regulation. I mean, the alignment is just remarkable.
Now, we have to be really clear about something here. This analysis shows fascinating correlations, not proven causation. Direct scientific research on this specific practice is still pretty limited. And we have to remember that, at its heart, this is a spiritual and ethical instruction. This scientific lens just gives us a new way to appreciate its potential functional wisdom.
And all of this leaves us with one last thought. If a simple rule about which hand to use for eating can contain so many layers of practical wisdom, what other ancient practices, rituals, and traditions might be out there just waiting for a second look through a modern lens? What else have we been missing?